to INS, the International News Service, your source for the most important weird news from across the globe. With news analyst Kevin Harrison, actor, comedian, and musician Mike Wiebe, and professional commentator Brian Camp. INS, the news you need.
It's a disgusting thing. Hey, that's against the law.
No, keep talking about farting.
Well, I'm just talking about Lepidome, the Great Entertainer. I've always wanted like a Merchant
The
Ivory
Great
like, period piece.
Entertainer, was that his like subtitle?
No, but he was considered at the time. It's like how Al Jolson was the biggest singer in America for like years, but nobody likes to talk about that. But like, Lepidome was like top notch, like performing for royalty guy.
There's probably a handful of people that love to talk about that.
Yeah, but there's never been like the Merchant Ivory like
performing this weekend at the Comedy Mothership with Joe Rogan, and they're gonna complain about how things used to be good back then when you could just do that, and now you can't no more. And it's bull s.
Yeah, I want like the trailer where it's like castle's on fire and so, like a king yelling and like this whole like I can't like nobody ever sunk $80 million into his life story. I can't believe it.
Yeah,
not yet. I think that's important.
I have a concept for the trailer. I think it'd be amazing, but I'll start it.
Okay, what is this?
I just like you cut back and forth to like all the things of him performing and him falling in love and his like on his knees crying in the rain. But as they're going, you see him laying down, staring up like shirtless, like this.
And kind of the sarcophagus arms.
Yeah, but he's just laying there. But as it pulls back, you realize he's naked and he's in a tub of water. And then as the thing continues, you see the water is actually diminishing, and he's just laying in there. And then the camera gets closer again, and it comes right up to his eye, and a single tear rolls down, and then it says "Lepidome."
The farthest.
Wow.
Yeah, it'd be really incredible. It's gonna change the world.
Yowie zowie. The fartist.
The fartist.
I don't even like saying it. That's not my style of humor.
No, I hate fart related anything.
Yeah,
actual farts.
Someone asked me about that once, and I was just like, it's just not that funny.
No, it's not. It's so lazy. And
it's like everybody's agreed to make it funny.
It's
like part of the social contract that shouldn't be there.
Sometimes it's funny. And this is my my thing is I don't think that, and this isn't out of being PC, because I am pro making fun of a disability or something like that. Like I think that can be funny, but any joke with a little person is not funny to me at all. Like it's not even so much like, oh, there is a little bit of like well, that fucking sucks, like, oh, but to me it's just like, yeah, that person's very short, like what's funny about that? Like it's not funny to me. Like it's just like I'm not even, this isn't even me being like particularly like sympathetic or empathetic. It's more just like comedy based, like yeah, that person's shorter, so yeah, it's harder for them to reach the door knob or whatever. Like it's just not funny.
I would agree with you, except for one film, which is Deuce Bigalow, European Gigolo. Did you see that movie?
I missed it.
I have not seen that one.
I was supposed to see it at Cannes, but I got swept into a Krzysztof Kozlowski film.
So that guy, the main guy, Rob Schneider, or Roy Scheider, whoever it was, he walks in the room.
I'm going to say the former, not the latter.
Okay. Well, speaking of ladders, there's a little person joke. And Rob Schneider walks into the room, and the woman he loves is like surrounded by men who are, planning on having intercourse with her. And he gets so upset that he runs towards the men, but the only one he can actually physically overpower is a little person who's there.
Mm-hmm.
And they're in Italy for this. And he goes, and he throws the guy out the window. And the guy falls 30 stories into, the rivers of Italy. And as he hits the water, there's this huge splash, but the sound effect just goes bloop, like a single drop. And that joke works. Like the audience exploded laughing at that part. And I held it against him. Because it's a really intense stunt for the little person stuntman that does it.
Oh wow!
Really, like 20 stories out.
Yeah. There were. I feel like there were a lot of little people movies when we were kids, and I can only think of
Well-
two, which is Time Bandits, which I feel like holds up as a movie, and the other one,
Great,
which I have
great
not
movie.
seen since it was in the theater that I can remember, is Over the Rainbow with Chevy Chase
Yeah.
and Carrie Fisher, which
Yeah, I have
suspect
it on
is not.
VHS. I have
Oh,
it
wow.
on VHS over here.
Is it?
I like that movie because it has little person Nazis in it, including Billy Barty as a Nazi.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, wait, Mike.
Okay, maybe worth revisiting then.
2 days ago, Mike and I had lunch, and we talked about another movie with little person Nazis in it,
That movie was
Elves with Dan Haggerty.
Elves of Dan
Oh, wow.
Haggerty.
Oh my God, I met Dan Haggerty. It's probably like a one celebrity meeting that I was ever like, oh my God, it's Dan Haggerty. And he was very drunk.
Oh.
Yeah, he got busted. You remember that he got busted for cocaine, right?
I mean, I know, but I'm not surprised.
Let's look up Dan Haggerty's cocaine.
Which page of the phone book is behind you? On your wall?
Me?
No.
Oh, me. No, this is the fill in filmography where you go through and then you have to fill in all the movies that you've seen and rate them. And I haven't updated it in a couple of years, but let's say we might be at 50%, 60%.
Of all the movies ever made. that you've
Los
seen.
Angeles
Yes, all of them.
Times, April 5th, 1985. Actor Dan Haggerty, best known as television's Grizzly Adams, was sentenced Thursday to 90 days in county and 3 years probation for furnishing cocaine to 2 undercover police officers last year. Well, that's
Wow.
bullshit. He wasn't even, he was just trying to hook some people up. What I did was wrong, he admitted. What the system did was not right. Yeah, I agree with him. I don't think that's...
So I have a question real quick. I don't know if you can talk about it or not, Zach. So I'm going to throw it out here and then we'll edit it out if you can't. Now, my understanding is a couple weeks ago, Mike stopped in to see you at work and you were watching a certain movie that has haunted his entire life. Can we talk about that?
Okay, so there's a release coming out. They're going to is doing a 10th anniversary release of a box set of never seen movies, like movies that like maybe played theatrically or on television, like a handful of times, and then never had a video release of any kind, any format, right? In any country. So like,
Right.
I think it's going to be like 8 to a dozen movies on there, and one of them is a movie that Mike was one of like the 8 people who'd ever seen it before.
Mike and Brian.
Yeah.
And it was weird because like I don't even think Mike had told you that I was writing this essay for this thing, and like what it was, but I'd been asked to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think you'd mentioned that you were working on a thing, but I didn't.
Oh, hold on, Mike. Can you just describe?
Well, I walked in and I saw it for 1 second.
This is
and
how old are you?
Well, I walked into where Zack was watching
Okay.
the movie, and I froze, and I said, "Is there a part in this movie where a guy sings a song called 'They Blame It on the Bobo'?" And Zack looked shocked and was like, "Yeah, I just watched that and scrubbed, scrubbed the clip, like just guesstimated how far back and clicked it and exactly went to the part of I don't know how to describe it, a bad, what kind of, it's like an alligator with a very community theater in a small town paper mache mask, singing a song called "They Always Blame It on the Bobo. Why do they blame it on the Bobo? Oh no, they blame it on the Bobo." And I saw that clip with Brian at Ben Johnson's house in probably 1991, maybe, for 1 second. I mean, it was on, it just happened to be on, and it was so bizarre and haunting and stuck in my head, and not purposefully haunting, but just so
Right.
bizarre that I've been, lamenting that they blame everything on the Bobo ever since then, since 1990. And I don't think about it every day, but
Most days.
most days, but most of the time, it wakes me up from a cold sleep. But
Is that a
yeah,
thing?
so I freaked out, and I mean, I think Zach can attest to my shock.
Yeah, he
Right.
actually he's going like he was
Yeah.
really doing that, but like without irony. It's like for real. Going,
Yeah. I put my hands up to cover my mouth in a Richard Simmons is shocked at something David Letterman would say way, and
But you
not
really
on
did that.
purpose. You know,
Like you really
not
were like,
Right.
like you really did that.
not out of reference or anything like that. I was just generally so shocked that this thing, because there's not a ton. There's a couple movies that are. There's a TV show that I'm still trying to like track down what it was. Where this kid who may or may not have been Mino Pellucci gets trapped. I don't think was him. He gets trapped in a weird psychedelic. It's like all like a green screen. It's called the Garbagerie. And he's playing baseball, and he goes like he finds a secret door. It's all shot in real world, but then when he goes in this room, it's just like him, and everything else is animated, and it. I remember it being very like psychedelic, like strobing colors, and there's like a weird face of or some sort of like animated thing that he's talking to, and that's about all I remember about it. And that the weird nether zone he went to was called the Garbagerie, and it showed on Nickelodeon.
Was it part of the Third Eye show, Nickelodeon?
I don't know. I have no. That's where it starts and stops. That's all my information. Like I remember it. And I remember talking to a kid about it in like junior high or high school. So I'd seen it beforehand, and he was like, "Yeah, I remember." He remembered that it was called the Garbagerie, and because I'd even forgotten that aspect. But I definitely. I don't, it was probably Canadian because most Nickelodeon, early Nickelodeon stuff was
right.
Australian too. They do a lot of Australian stuff on the Third Eye.
Okay.
Do you remember the opening of the Third Eye show? That was like the supernatural.
I don't think I've ever seen the Third Eye.
It's very similar to the opening of Unsolved Mysteries, where it's like gives you this like weird blood curdling, like ghosty, soulless future feeling. And it's all these like there's one part with all these children in a room, but they've all been like turned gray, and they have no eyes or mouth, and they're just like heads tilted forward. It's really intense, and I love that show. And it was like always international like weirdness, like Alien Lover. I don't know if you guys ever saw that, like that weird British shot on video TV special. Is like really strange, but they played all kinds of stuff on there. And I think what you're talking about, I might remember that from the Third Eye. Nickelodeon got a whooping in the early 90s because they made that movie Crybaby Lane about the abortion that comes back for revenge.
Oh wow.
Whoa.
And it played once, and it was like so disturbing and upsetting that Nickelodeon like apologized and said we will never run that again.
Wow.
I got a DVD of it
somewhere.
I got a bootleg DVD.
Really?
Oh wow. I did like.
Was it Canadian?
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, it was a weirdly U.S. production.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Crybaby Lane.
I do remember, and Mike was the one who solved this mystery, like being at my aunt's house in like 1982 and turning on HBO, and there was an animated movie with cussing in it, and it was like, oh wow. And I remembered watching it, and I didn't remember very much about it, and Mike was like, oh, that's Twice Upon a Time.
Yeah,
I think you showed it to me on VHS bootleg.
Yeah, I had a VHS bootleg. I don't think I have anymore, but yeah.
And then we watched it on DVD a couple years ago, and it's got redeeming moments, but it's also just got a lot of some filler in there.
There's a lot of like the dirty, like it was after Ralph Bakshi popped out. Like there's like a bunch of dirty 70s animation stuff that there was like a whole genre. Like there's that Tarzoon movie. It's like a sexy Tarzan parody with.
Oh no, I don't know that at all.
It's all kinds of silly shit. But yeah, like Fritz the Cat and like the Bakshi whole wave of stuff.
Yeah.
Spawned a bunch of filthy 70s animation.
Right.
Yeah.
And
my genre of choice.
Welcome to the International News Service. We're your hosts. I'm Kevin Harrison, along with
I'm Mike Wiebe, and this week we have special guest, film historian and collector of lost souls, Zack Carlson.
Hey, Zack.
That's too accurate. Hello. Good morning.
How you been since the last time we talked to you?
Mike could probably answer that.
Yeah, a lot of dead hearts, a lot of broken bodies.
That's right.
Nice.
That's good. That's good for the tombstone.
Yeah, dead hearts and broken bodies. Y'all, I just woke up from the most powerful power nap that there's ever been, and I feel awake, feel good now. I'm drinking some tea, but man, it feels like I feel like I just got up from surgery. It was such an intense nap, and I have to think it was a lot of it's because of the heat and how goddamn fucking hot it is.
True.
Because Jesus Christ, this is the worst.
Did I tell you last week how I fell asleep at work? "Quote unquote," fell asleep.
How's this?
Well, I've got a medical condition where my blood is 3 times thicker than it's supposed to be, and so
Does that mean you have 3 times as much?
No, but
Oh,
well,
okay.
I have 3 times as many red blood cells. That's not very as funny as having 3 times too much blood.
Okay.
I probably look like those old 60s issues of Superman where he becomes fat. Like,
Yeah.
if I had that.
It's always a Jimmy Olsen.
I have every issue of Jimmy Olsen. All 174 issues. All of them.
Nice.
All of them. My favorite major company series of all time. And where Darkseid came from.
Yeah, from once Jack Kirby took over, that series took a weird, crazy turn. I have the Don Rickles issues.
Yeah, no, there's a great Kirby did this amazing storyline where Jimmy Olsen goes to a planet that's warring Frankenstein monsters versus Draculas. And he somehow leads them into peace together.
Wow.
It's great. But anyway,
I don't mess with Frankensteins no more.
Not no more. No. But yeah, so we were talking about wait, what did you just go off of? Before that, I forget.
Shit.
I've been kissing hands and shaking babies.
Nice.
Yes.
Shaking babies.
You fell asleep. You fell asleep.
Oh yeah, you fell asleep at
work. I
work.
have this blood condition,
right?
And sometimes I don't get enough oxygen to my brain, and I get migraines or different things happen because those capillaries, they don't like all the thick blood, the maple syrup blood like I got.
Right.
So I was at work, and then I get a certain kind of dizzy sometimes, where I'm like, oh, I've got about 10 seconds to lay down or sit down before I'm just gonna hit the ground. But I was kind of pushing it. I'm like, I can get this one box moved before then. And the next thing I knew, I woke up in the pitch black 7.5 hours later. I had no idea where I was.
Oh shit.
And I turned on the light, and I had passed out, knocked over a table, and everything on the table, which was a lot of boxes, had then fallen down on me while I was laying there unconscious. And
oh my God.
Yeah, that was last Tuesday. I didn't tell you about that, Mike.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, but my entire workday was me
it?
covered in boxes and a little bit of blood from the mouth.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
So this week, we have a true crime story that sort of is a viral internet story, and Mike has a new story for us and get to know your podcast.
Yeah, I do, but it's a story ripped from the headlines.
It might remind you of a story from 2 weeks ago that Mike covered.
Ripped from the headlines. Also ripped from the headlines.
So our first story comes to us from The Guardian.
Ooh, of the Galaxy?
No, just The Guardian.
The Red Guardian, as in who was Red Guardian? He was
Red Guardian. I don't.
Was he? Wait, is that Russia's Superman?
Yeah, I think it's Russia's Superman, Red Guardian.
Oh, wow. No, I think that was. I might have moved on to. I only read indie comics by then.
You mean the Indiana Jones series?
Yeah, those are good.
Oh, yeah, those are pretty good.
Unlike that new movie. Woo! Shots fired. Pow, pow, pow.
Wait, did that come out?
Yeah.
Did anyone care?
I don't think anybody cares. It was so passable that everybody's just kind of okay, I guess.
That's a movie.
Did Shia LaBeouf reprise his role?
No, he's dead.
Oh, good.
There you go. Poochie had to return to his own planet. And he died on the way home. It's really basically what they do. They're just
they really killed him off though.
Yeah, they killed him off.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he's dead. Oh man.
Oh. That's weird.
Yeah. And funny. It's too long. There's a whole action set piece sequence that introduces Antonio Banderas and gives him like 3 lines, and it is the most. I've never seen a more disposable, clearly like, why don't we edit this? Other than it feels like 10 to 15 minutes of absolutely useless time. Like the set piece is not impressive enough that it needs to be in the movie at all. There's no new information delivered. It doesn't like really further the plot. It's just kind of this weird like extra stumbling point in a movie that has like plenty of big action set pieces and stuff like that.
Right.
There's like one line of dialogue that you would just move that to a different scene and you're fine. But yeah, it's weird. Indiana Jones is sad the whole movie.
Of course.
Because his kid's dead and his wife left him and he's really ready to go. And
wait, she left him again?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Where did she leave him this time? Like,
well, after their kid died, they could never get their shit back together.
Okay.
So he spends the whole movie.
30.
Yeah.
I thought he was immortal because he drank from the Holy Grail.
No, that's Indy. We're talking about the kid.
Oh, well, yeah, but I mean, yeah, okay.
That's a kid, Shia LaBeouf. If he dies, big deal.
Yeah.
No, yeah, for sure.
He
in real life
he spends the whole movie like really like a really sad character. Like he's and not just like the sadness of seeing an 89-year-old man trying to do action stunts, but like his character's like not happy. And then it all ties up nice though. It ties up in an inexplicably happy way. But right up until that last, I don't know. I'm probably spoiling it for people. I don't know. Maybe I should cut that if people haven't seen it. But also, I don't care.
Can we talk about movies again sometime? Just kidding. That's what we do.
Yeah.
But I've got some James Bond curiosities that I wanted to run by some thinking folks like you and the listeners of your show. But we can wait till a more appropriate time. We can wait for the right.
Okay. Well, maybe on a future Get to Know Your podcast, Mike could do James Bond, and then we could do like a little
Get to know your James Bond cast.
Get to know your James Bond cast.
Indeed.
I like when everybody just stares at me, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do?
There's a pun somewhere with a quantum of solace to mock the stupidity of that title that you guys could use for that episode.
Oh my God. So I was in San Francisco walking down the street, and the quantum of solace was playing across the street at the theater. And this guy goes, I don't like those artsy fartsy movies. I'm not going to see that one. And his wife or the woman he's with goes, oh yes, I've heard that one's very artsy fartsy. And all I can think is, it's fucking James Bond.
It's just because they didn't know one of those words. That's why they said that.
Yeah.
That's really dark. That movie did suck, though. I mean, they saved money. Like they were ultimately, they made the right decision.
Yeah. Artsy. That's what old LePew the Entertainer was.
Yeah. Oh, so true. I wonder if that came from him. Fliphetamine. Maybe. I mean, seriously, he was huge. Yeah, I just had some James Bond like revelations while I was laying face down in the
cold, dark mud.
Room.
All right, give us one.
Yeah, give us one. Give us a little taste here.
Somebody's probably gonna, somebody, because this is viewed by or listened to by everybody on Earth. So someone will steal this idea now. But it's insane to me that there's only been one female Bond villain, which is Octopussy, and her name was Octopussy, which kind of negates any sort of like progression that women make in the James Bond series, Yeah. But also, he's had sex with so many women who then, in turn, like by falling for him, are sabotaging their relationship with their bosses.
Yeah.
That there's never been a Bond villain who's his kid, his illegitimate kid, who's like, my mother died because of you. Like, I don't want to. I don't want to destroy England. I want to destroy you. And it's his own kid going out to get vengeance for his mother being killed by some.
I was initially going to say same, but then that's happened to me. So
there you go. But isn't that weird? Like, it's like he's been around as a character long enough where he could have like a 40-year-old son or daughter. Yeah. Better yet, daughter being like, yeah, you destroyed my entire family because you wanted sex with some woman. Like my mother suffered and died. Yeah. And now you will. And everyone you love will. And like, that's the villain. It's so personal.
Yeah.
That'd be great. It should happen.
That should happen. That would be good.
I don't think James Bond is capable of loving anybody, though. I think he is basically a serial killer that has the right job.
He's a man on a mission.
No, License to
He's
Kill is
got
just
no
a love vengeance movie.
love.
License to Kill is just him getting revenge for his best friend and his girlfriend getting killed.
Okay.
And he
getting
quits his job
revenge.
and just takes one gun and goes out to kill everybody. And it's great.
Nice.
License to Kill. Who's in that one? Which one
That's
is
Timothy Dalton, is that right?
Yeah,
Timothy
Dalton's a
D.
way underrated Bond.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think he's great.
Is
Because he's
that
like a little bit human. He's
Christopher
like a little bit
Walken?
tired, you know?
That's View to a Kill.
That's View to a Kill,
for
yeah.
sure.
Oh, that's the last. That's great. That one's great. People are they don't champion that movie enough. Because Nazis create the ultimate man, and it's Christopher Walken with his like blonde hair. That's the ultimate man.
Wow.
According to
Wow.
Nazis. And who's his girlfriend? Grace Jones.
Yeah. Well, you know.
Grace Jones working with Nazis again. Dolph Lundgren. Dolph
So,
Lundgren's boyfriend.
Oh,
Did you
Go
get to
ahead.
meet Dolph Lundgren at Fantastic Fest?
I had to lure him out of a car with the promise of a frappuccino.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. Dolph Lundgren and Gwyneth
He did-
Paltrow are essentially the same person.
he was just like, I can't do this. And you're like, come on, what do I gotta? I'll get you a frappuccino. And he's like, okay.
We had a big boxing event, and we're just gonna have Dolph Lundgren make a surprise cameo, make the audience go, yeah, you know. And we get him out there, and it's like 12:30 at night, and he's just like, yeah, do you have a frappuccino I could have? And I was like, well, Starbucks all closed hours ago, but I could go get to 7-Eleven and get one. And he's like, oh, come on. I'm like, come on, I'm going to break into a Starbucks and make you a drink. What do you want me to do? And it turned into this weird thing. And I was just like, look, man, like you're already here. Like, do it or don't do it. And he's like, all right, fine. And he did
He's a
it.
lot shorter than I remember, than I thought he would be.
He was
Then
shorter?
I remember when I fought him that one time. Yeah, I was taller than him, I remember.
I feel like that with Fabio. I'm taller than Fabio. It blew my mind.
Oh wow.
Oh, wow.
I was in line behind him at a supermarket. And online it says he's 6'3", but that's untrue. Or he was standing in a hole.
Yeah, he was standing. he was squatting just to get. He didn't want to be noticed by ladies. Ladies at the supermarket were back. They used to sell romance novels at the supermarket.
You're not that long ago.
Still,
No, not that
I don't.
long
I mean, they
ago.
still sell
don't
gun
think they
magazines
did.
at the supermarket, which is confusing to me.
Yeah.
They had romance novels by the checkout lines, or one checkout line in Walmart. Last time I was there, they still have that.
Oh, wow.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Man, those things are sexy too. My grandmother had about 4,000 of them, and I remember just going after she passed away. I was like, we were like cleaning out some of her stuff, and I remember just like randomly picking out books and just opening up pages and one I don't know, 4 out of every 5 times it would be to like something with a page that had something about Purple Warrior or Throbbing or Love Hole and stuff
no,
like
they didn't say that.
And we're like, Grandma, what the fuck? I didn't know she was
Love
such a
Hole.
horn dog. It explains
want-
why she was always running around topless.
In appreciation of your grandmother, can I commission a needlepoint that shows like a little pastoral house with a little like white picket fence, and underneath it just says "Love Hole"?
Love Hole. The love house. Soon we'll be making another come. The love hole.
What was the name of the guy that everybody loved on Love Boat? The
Gopher.
bartender guy,
Isaac.
I thought that was
Isaac.
Isaac. Okay.
Because we had an Adult Swim show, and we got our auditions in, and one of them was Isaac. And then a friend of mine had an Adult Swim show, and he's like, "Yeah, Isaac from Love Boat auditioned." And I'm like, "He just desperately wants to be on an Adult Swim series." That actor.
Oh wow.
Like, how weird is that?
No, I mean, not that weird. I bet he's got like some cool like kid or nephew or niece. It's like this is what kids like right now.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah,
It's
the
definitely
first two auditions
like
we got were Isaac,
uh-huh.
Tiny Lister, who was
Oh,
Wiebe from Friday.
yeah.
Zeus.
He was killed
He's
by
always
the-
Zeus to me.
I know it's true. Dookie. Yeah, but he was killed by the pandemic. That
Yeah.
Oh,
powerful
wow.
man Killed by COVID.
Yeah.
And then Eddie Deason. Those are the 3 people that we got for the same part.
He has dementia now, I think, right?
I'm hoping that's what it is because he keeps getting in trouble for stalking that lady, and I'm a huge fan of his.
That's right.
And I got to know him a little bit, and he's really nice, and I hate seeing him go through this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So back to the story.
Yes.
So this comes to us from the Guardian.
What are the Guardian?
In this case, public decency.
No. Okay.
So this was submitted to us by Blake, and we haven't had a Blake story in a while. So thanks, Blake.
Ooh. Thank you, Blake.
I've almost covered this story several times, but with a criminal trial pending the week after this drops, it seems like a good time to talk about the Somerset Gimp.
Oh, yeah, I know about this guy.
Since at least 2018, the UK county of Somerset has had regular sightings at night of its own special kind of cryptid. There are at least 14 reports of people claiming this cryptid would allegedly run up to unsuspecting people and then writhe and grunt while dressed in a masked bodysuit that made him look like the Gimp from Pulp Fiction. The Somerset Gimp was arrested in May after police responded to a call from a female motorist reporting that someone wearing a black bondage suit had jumped out in front of her car. The Somerset Gimp is alleged to be a 32-year-old local man named Joshua Hunt. And though the Somerset Gimp never hurt anyone, he has now been charged with 6 counts that include 2 counts of what's called a fray, or basically scaring people. So apparently in England, if it's a crime to make people go like, "Father, I'm very afraid." Let's see. 1 count.
It's a crime to scare people?
In England, to make them afraid.
Afraid.
Yes.
All right. Well,
You know, that's the weakest country in the world.
well, that is just, I mean,
They've never
you
even
know.
seen a gun over there. They don't even know what they look like.
it
Let's
feels
see.
like, yeah, I get why we won that war.
Yeah.
The American Revolution 250 years ago.
Probably because we're like, hey, don't come. If you think you want to take us over, guess what? There's a witch that lives here.
No.
Oh, yeah, she's got big long bony fingers, and she's got a necklace with teeth.
Father, I'm so afraid.
I'm Fry.
Please arrest America
Fray.
for me.
Fry.
But then you get but then the maniacs there are really kind of good. Like not this guy, but like the Beast of Jersey. Didn't he wear like human skin and stuff? Like they got some weird ones.
Oh, there are some there's
The Beast
Fred
of Jersey. You
Rosemary
talking about Glenn
West.
Danzig?
Is that the guy who was in the cult who murdered his family?
No, he was just some guy that would just roam around at night, and his wife didn't know he was doing it, but he's like wearing it was like Leatherface.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but he was from there. Like,
Have you've heard about the female version of Leatherface named Lavender Face? She's like a sexy Leatherface, but her name's Lavender Face.
Shout out to 120 episodes ago.
It's the gender swapped version of Leatherface. Her name's Lavender Face, and she's got big old bouncy jugs, and she's like Leatherface, but she's just sexy, and she's got one of those hillbilly outfits on that are, we talked about earlier. They're real tight. It was like a tube of a dish rag with big jagged little Abner fucking, Barney Rubble style outfit on. But then she's got a crazy evil face. But you still kind of want to kiss her. Because she's
Mike's making light of the fact that I'm like uncontrollably attracted to hillbilly women in movies.
Okay.
Like, that's like my number one thing. Like if they have like a Black and Tooth right here, it's like it's over.
Big
Like,
Bad Mama
Big Bad Mountain,
too.
the Herschel Gordon Lewis movie. Woo.
So the Somerset Gimp has also been charged with 1 count of having a bladed item, 2 counts of putting someone in fear of violence, and 1 count of outraging public decency.
What?
That's putting someone in fear. Putting someone in fear of violence.
Right, in fear of violence. Well, that's I mean that's basically what assault is that you have the you have the anticipation that there is going to be imminent offensive contact in some way.
Shit. I worry about that all the time. I can't charge anyone with that. I'm afraid everyone's gonna try and hit me because they think that I'm
Wesley Snipes?
I was gonna say Savian Glover, but I don't know why.
I don't know who that is.
He's a tap dancer.
So,
I mean, you know why.
They think that. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
I've got two sentences. Well, I got one long sentence and one short sentence. But so Joshua Hunt is also banned from wearing a mask or possessing one in a public place, wearing all black, all-in-one clothing, and he is not permitted to crawl, wriggle, or writhe on the ground while wearing a full body covering or a mask. The trial of the Somerset Gimp is scheduled to begin on August 16th.
Wait, so this is what they're proposing?
No, the judge has ordered him not to do those things until January. Like, she's given him an order, a court order saying, like, you can't do any of these.
5 months without wriggling on the ground in a full body suit? How's he supposed to express himself?
Yeah, how you supposed to get your food?
What I'm saying is that we send him an INS shirt, which is completely legal under this order, and he can wriggle and writhe all he wants.
Is there a way we can send him some merch, though, for real?
Apparently, I would love to, but apparently he's like super, like non-talkative, like he won't talk to anybody about
he'll probably
any of this.
Open up when we reach out to him. He's probably you've never had a news show be kind to him. All these other news shows are mocking him and making fun of him, and here we are reaching out to him. Now, can you legally do that in America?
What do you mean?
I mean, those are so specific. It'd be like if, Mike, you're not allowed to wear red sneakers anymore. Like, it just seems like a weird like. How do you make a law that, like, all those things are not laws?
It applies to one person.
I mean, you could be a judge can order you to do a lot of things. I doubt an American judge could. They could try to do something like this, but I think that absent like a conviction, they can't really say don't wear a mask in public. I think that would be really hard.
Is he allowed to put on a mask and a bodysuit and go wriggle around on the ground in his front yard?
Oh, I don't know how property law works in England. Probably not, because you can't be naked in your front yard.
Yeah, but that's not naked. That's wearing a bodysuit.
I guess as long as you're not making anyone else afraid.
Oh, yes, he's going to cause some fray if he does that.
But what if you just like I make people afraid all the time because I'm fucking jacked, you know? And I'm like walking around the grocery store, and sometimes I'll wear a sleeveless Iron Maiden t-shirt, and I look like a fucking force to be reckoned with, you know?
Oh yeah.
I got a cute tattoo of a puppy dog on my bicep, and people think, oh my God, this fucking biker is gonna slit my throat and open up the wound and piss in the wound and then pick my entire body up and drink his own piss out of the head hole wound.
Well, and they're correct.
But I'm not going to do that. Listen, I'm telling you, I'm not going to do that. But are people afraid that I might because of how fucking intimidating I look? Yes. It's a and admittedly, it's a valid fear. I look frightening. Like I look like I could rip apart man, woman, child, steel, titanium, balsa,
unobtainium.
Unobtainium. I look like I could rip apart a chunk of unobtainium and throw it away, and that would scare not only the humans but the Navi, the Netanyahus that live on that planet. So I'm just saying, like, I don't know how you can enforce non-frayness
when you're like an interstellar terrorist every time you walk out of the door.
And admittedly, the things that I find frightful, there are people that I look at and then I'm like, oh, that guy. I mean, I'm not like afraid, like I want to run away, but like, you know, you see somebody, like things that make you afraid, like a bumper sticker. Like if somebody has a bumper sticker that's like a black, blue lives or whatever, like they're doing that to be afraid. That doesn't scare me. But say there's somebody with a fucking I love Dave Matthews bumper sticker. And I'm like, then I'm a little afraid. I'm afraid of that fucking psychopath that has, you know, that has weird, you know, it's fucking, hey, motherfucker, it's 2023. And that's what you got on there, you know?
Right.
That's
scary. That's freaky. Maybe it's not scary, but it's freaky.
Okay.
Or someone that has a bumper sticker that says, my other car is a TARDIS. Or a bumper sticker that says, this is my TARDIS. You think what? Like, I'm afraid of the idea that what if I have to talk to them about something?
Well, are you afraid that you'll have to talk to them, or are you afraid that you'll talk to them and they'll decide
and fall in love with them?
Oh, well, that's pretty scary.
It's happened before. There's a squirrel lady in Austin. Do you know about this? Her car's covered in stuffed squirrels and photographs of squirrels that she has like shellacked to her car.
Wow.
And
really?
It is SQRLLDY, squirrel lady.
Wow.
And
all we have in Denton is the flat Earth guy.
You got they have a flat Earth guy in Denton. Tell me about the flat Earth guy.
So you can see this if you. I'm letting our listeners know, if you go to Google and just write Denton and flat Earth, his car and his house and his truck will come right up. They'll be your first results. But so he lives kind of close to the Denton Square. It's maybe like a mile, and so every day, once it's free parking on the square, and then every weekend day, he will drive his car up and park like at a super visible the same spot and leave it there. And his car is like this beat to shit. It must be 25 years old. I don't know what kind of car it is, but it's all dented. But you don't even notice the dents. What you notice is all of the shoe polish he's written on about how the Earth is flat and COVID is a hoax. And I think he's got big flags hanging off for flat Earth stuff. And it's something about like 22 proofs. Check it. Google this.
The last thing I don't agree with, but everything else I'm on board.
But the city. Then he's got another truck that's like that. But moreover, if you drive past his house, it's all like it's got all that shoe polish on all the windows, and it's got like this. I think there's either in the truck or in the front yard is like a telescope that's turned some kind of way to like point back at the Earth. I think.
Do you guys know about what the flat Earth theory like about? Where that comes from? And like it was like Edmund Hillary, like the great explorer. It was like the one who started it.
Oh wow!
Oh really?
No, sorry, that's Hollow Earth. But then that led to a lot of the flat Earth.
Yeah.
A lot of the flat Earth supposition
is Hollow Earth is real. I mean, that's not.
Well, yeah. I mean, I've read the shit. I forgot the name of that comic book.
Oh, Hellboy VPRD. They'd had one.
No. The fantasy one, the Mike Grell one.
Oh, not Grimjack.
I've read the Warlord comic book plenty of times. You can't tell me that's not real.
No, the Hollow Earth and Flat Earth stuff is so crazy. I told Mike I went on a date with a girl that seemed like it was going well, and then she was all Flat Earth. And I was just like,
great.
Yeah,
I've had that same date, but libertarian.
Yeah, I had that date, and it was trans libertarian.
What is trans libertarian?
She was a trans woman that was like libertarian and also pro-Trump.
That's hard to wrap my head around. Well, the libertarian pro-Trump is not that hard to wrap my head around. But
trans like being treated like shit by both.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I met two black trans women that were pro-Trump too, and I was like, he would murder you right now with like a pocket knife. Like,
well, the joke's on us. He's going to be president again, so
I don't know about that, but we'll see. I don't know about not that either.
I don't want that to happen. I'm just saying.
I'm just praying for it to happen.
Mike is saying he wants that to happen.
I don't want that to happen. I just need that to happen.
No, it's just true. It's like in the same 2 months, I met 2 black trans women who are friends of my roommate, who's a Latina trans woman, and she was like, "Yeah, my friends love Trump." I was like, "No, they don't." And I went up and I was like, "I know you don't know me, but what the fuck?" I was like, "Explain this." And they're just like, "He just says it like it is. He's my guy."
Mm-hmm.
It was wild.
He does say it like it is.
It says it like something.
Yeah. Anybody that says things like they are, isn't that just saying things
that are wrong?
I mean, but it just says things like they are.
Right.
It's such like a nondescript way of just saying like, I don't know. He hates the same people I do. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever.
No, it is there to legitimize being the worst part of whoever you can be.
Yeah, I'll never. That's I think for the rest of my life, I'll never understand how he was able to.
No,
other than
I understand it, but
I guess that I don't know. There's certain people in my life that I guess were always a lot more cruel than they ever let on,
right,
until they got permission to openly be that cruel.
Yeah. So I have a question for you guys. Is this guy an INS hero?
No, because he hasn't won yet. Because INS heroes are winners, and we don't like people that aren't winners.
Okay. So we
hate Trump, and we don't we like our heroes to win. That's what I'm saying.
That's the worst. That's the worst thing he said. That's like John McCain, right?
Yeah.
He said I like my war heroes to not get caught or whatever.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
God. So if in a week this guy goes in front of the judge and his case is dismissed, winner.
Well, I feel bad for him. I think he's being persecuted. I think there's a witch hunt out against him. and I also think that's happening to the bondage gear guy too.
Who we haven't seen his face, so it could be.
I can show you his face.
No, I'd rather just think it could be Trump.
Yeah.
There's a guy. Go ahead.
Oh, he's 32 in British. He's not.
Yeah, and I don't think there's no existing Gimp outfit that Trump could fit into. they don't make them that big.
There was a young criminal in Seattle who was I don't know if he's into like Gimp wear, but he was a sexually adventurous man named Josh Hunt also. But he was like doing swindles, and he got in trouble for that and went to maximum security prison because he was such like a crazy financial monster, of crime. But his nickname became the Junt. And yeah, it's really weird. And he got out of jail and it was like, the Junt is back. And it was like a thing. So maybe if you name your son Josh Hunt, he's going to be a criminal.
Yeah.
So this is kind of related. I hadn't considered this, but have you guys seen? I'll post this in the comments on social media. I forget how to share my screen. There it is. You guys seen this picture of Mary Tyler Moore and Dick Van Dyke?
Yes.
All gimped up.
I love it.
Oh wow.
That picture's so good.
Yeah, this is from 1995. I think it was Vogue or Cosmopolitan. They did a spread on classic TV, and so the two of them dressed up in bondage gear.
Yeah, you can tell he wasn't supposed to be wearing a shirt, and he like opted for a T-shirt under his vest, which is weird.
Right.
I would have done the same thing.
She looks amazing in that picture.
Oh yeah, she looks great.
Fucking hot.
She does.
She was so hot.
Oh, she always was.
I mean, she was, but then the best she could do was I'm not good with names tonight. Who was it in the Mary Tyler Moore show? Great actor.
Axl Rose.
Benny Hill.
Well, she was married a couple times, right?
Oh, I'm sure.
At once.
Yeah.
If you're lucky.
She partied.
That's real bigamy.
She was married to Joshua Hunt for a while.
Wow, there's a real May-December relationship.
It was amazing to me when Burt Reynolds was at the height of his like pinup, type popularity with women. He was like the Beefcake King, and then he dated Dinah Shore, who was like 25 years older than him. I thought that was awesome.
He was crazy in love with Tammy Wynette too.
Was she older than him?
I don't know, but it just seems like different worlds. Maybe it's not when I think about him in his kind of pseudo cowboy persona. I think he was older than her though.
He was a Georgia boy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I can't do the laugh. I was trying to do the laugh.
Yeah, him on like when they go off on their like vomitous like laugh riot things on the Tonight Show with
Yeah.
It was seriously amazing. Didn't they film that on Saturday Night Live, right? With the Chris Farley?
Yeah, that was one of my favorite bits where it was Carson doing like things got a little weird. They're doing like a faux Carson clip episode, and and they just cut to it's Johnny Carson with his pants down and he's got a pie smashed on his crotch, and
Chris Farley,
and then Chris Farley is Dom DeLuise and just starts looking in the camera and going laughing like Dom DeLuise, and then just pisses his pants. Yeah, I love that shit.
So the first urination on network television was on Carson because that monkey peed on his head in front of everybody.
Oh yeah.
I remember this is a crazy Carson thing. This one time they were Carson was talking because it was during the Cold War, and Carson's talking some shit. There's some news headline. The setup was something about Russia trying to get back into the space program, and then Johnny Carson goes, if Russia really wants to get back to the moon, I'd like to give him the opportunity right now. And he turns around and moons the camera, takes down his pants and moons the camera, and they did a big blue dot over his ass when he mooned the camera. And I ran in and told my mom, I was like, this just happened. And it was so funny. And my parents wouldn't believe me. They refused to believe me that it happened. And at that time, there's no way.
How would you have been such a good liar suddenly?
And what a very specific lie for me to make up.
And to be excited about it. Like you had to have thought for a while, like maybe practice, like what level of enthusiasm is just right for this?
Yeah, I don't, it's little things like that really, I think, fucked me up permanently.
Yeah.
I had that happen as an adult, like that, like Invaders from Mars thing, where like, I'm trying to convince you of something very important. And everybody's like,
right.
Like, I had that like not long ago, like 10 years ago, but I was already, 70. And I was at Comic-Con, and this woman, I'd never seen Game of Thrones. I never will. But like this lady was there, and all I knew was I saw a naked woman, and she had a rubber bat, like from like a dollar store for Halloween, over the front of her lowers. Like a rubber bat is like dangling like off center, like she was totally exposed. And then to cover her nipples, she had nipples, like fake nipples over her real nipples.
Genius.
And that was it. And I guess there's a character on Game of Thrones who's naked a lot and has like a bat or a little dragon or something.
Yeah, that happens. Like the main lady gets there's a scene where she gets burnt, all her clothes get burnt off, and she wakes up and she's got these dragons, these like little baby dragons that are like hanging on her. I think in the book they like breastfeed off of her too or something.
Right. Well, this one was not breastfeeding, it was just limply dangling over her genitals. But so I ran back to the Fantagraphics booth, which is who I was there with, and I was like, hey, there's a naked woman who's wearing nipple pasties over her nipples, and she's got a rubber bat over her body. And everyone's like, nope, that's not true. That's not happening here at this event in public. And but there is. And they like, nobody believed me. Like nobody there. They just thought I was being silly. I'm like, but I'm earnestly telling you this. I'm not lying. It made me feel terrible about myself. Like they all just thought I was lying.
Yeah.
But it was real.
No, I had a thing like that where I had this bumblebee, and 3 baby bumblebees were flying in a line behind it. And I reached out behind the last one, and I cupped my hand very gently around it, and then opened it up before it could like land and sting me. And it just kept flying, but it was sort of like out of alignment with the other bees. Then they were just like flying in this very steady. And anyway, I went in and told my aunts and grandma about it, and they just called me a liar and made me cry.
But it was real.
Yeah. It really
I would have rather seen the naked lady.
See, and me, no. I'd rather switch. I've got a picture. She got arrested, and I have a photo of her in the outfit for that day.
She got arrested for the outfit, or was it?
Do you have the photo with you, or?
I mean, somewhere on my phone, but like, I can send it to you. But like, I mean, if you look up the name of the character and Comic-Con, then it comes up like as a Google image search, and it's like exactly like the moment I saw her is when somebody took a picture of her. So she's like at the food court talking to her nerdy boyfriend, and it's like it's really crazy. Like, I can't believe that this really happened, but it did.
I
don't know.
So I'm gonna give you guys two options. We could do a get to know your podcast, or we could go down Zach's road with his James Bond thing.
I kind of already said mine.
Oh, okay, yeah, he already said it.
I thought there was more to it.
Arrest.
Well, that's really the main one. Like the main one's like, where is his pissed off kid who's ideally a woman?
Right.
It's just like your philandering has led to the death of how many women have died because James Bond slept with them.
Oh yeah.
Right. Yeah. He's like the Martin Shkreli of like the Secret Service. He's like the worst person. And so I'm still looking for this picture. And so it's just like some kid. I mean, it makes sense. Like it's way overdue for that storyline. That's all.
Right. Do you worry a little bit that that's kind of, like, I feel like the beginning of Kill Bill Part 1 kind of invites that storyline, and people just be like, yeah, because she kills what is that woman's name? Vivica A. Fox. And then her kid sees, and she's like, come and find me in 20 years if you're still sore about this or something. And it's kind of, I worry nobody remembers that. Never mind.
No. I don't like those movies by that guy. I think he's a bad filmmaker. That's me.
Well, I mean,
no, that's fine. I don't think I think those two movies specifically have maybe flaws that I don't necessarily see or that I gloss over with most of his other movies.
I like the movies, but I also like nude Daenerys Stormborns. So I like nude Daenerys Stormborns at Comic-Cons.
Right.
I'm of low brow.
Nude Daenerys. That's her name, Daenerys Stormborn.
Daenerys Targaryen.
Man, that show's stupid.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah. You're not wrong, but they got nudity in it, so I'm a big fan of nudity.
My friends have a band called that.
Nudity?
Yeah.
That's
nice.
a great band name.
Yeah,
God, I'm jealous of that. Celeb nipple slips. Celeb nip slip. I can read my story though.
We've taken up plenty of time. It's up to you.
All right, let me just read it in case we need something to cut.
Okay.
Between. Let me. Okay, nude Daenerys.
Mike's going through his tabs. 9 of them are nude Daenerys.
Did you find the picture for Comic-Con?
No, I couldn't find it yet.
All right, I'm still looking then. I'll send it.
So I feel like I'm out of the loop since I'm the only one here who's never been to Comic-Con.
Well, Zach's been so much that he's annoyed by it, and I understand that. Like I was just so blown away by how huge it was, and it was. I definitely there's a handful of people I'd like to go there with and just see them kind of trip out on how big it is.
Yeah,
but it's also not a thing that I would want to go to every year. But I had a great time with it. But
I feel like, being a comic book geek in the late 80s, really the late 80s, when I'd read about this stuff in like Comic Scene, and I'd be like, oh my God, I have to go to this. And that's the version of it that I want to see, where, John Byrne is wandering around and Chuck Dixon is drunk.
There was Bill Sikowitz is hanging out, and there's there's a lot of at least this last year there was a lot of I think all the attention goes to like when they're like, oh, there's going to be a new Marvel movie or whatever, but there's still the biggest there's still the biggest like convention floor on the history of the planet, and there was plenty of comics, plenty of toys, plenty of weird shit, plenty of indie people selling their wares. So I can see how it might have at one day been just a comic book convention, and that would be enticing too. But there's just giant displays of Square Enix having a Final Fantasy display that's the most giant, insane thing you've ever seen. But I loved it. But I was gonna tell you guys about Hugh the manatee.
Okay.
Oh, the Hugh manatee, a longtime fixture at the Moat Marine Laboratory and Aquarium. The 38-year-old manatee named Hugh died under unknown circumstances back in April. This week, new graphic details about his demise are pitting federal agencies against the Florida Aquarium about how best to preserve the vulnerable species.
Oh, wow.
After Hugh's death in April, the FWC's Fish and Wildlife Research Institute's Marine Mammal Pathobiology Lab started an animal autopsy on the creature. As first reported by the local ABC affiliate, the U.S. Department of Agriculture released an autopsy report and claimed the aquarium failed to protect Hugh during an aggressive sexual interaction with his brother Buffet.
Buffet.
It might be Buffett, but I'm going to say Buffet because I think that's Buffet. A funnier name of a manatee to get rectally killed by. ABC7's further report quotes the USDA claiming that the facility representatives observed high-intensity sexual behavior between the two marine mammals. Hugh experienced rectal penetration that morning of the incident, and employees later collected fecal samples from Hugh that included fresh blood. Hugh reportedly died due to a 14.5 centimeter rip in his colon alongside other traumatic injuries. Go Buffet! The sexual behavior continued throughout the day with periods of rest between high-intensity interactions and occasional penetration, according to the USDA, which isn't that the people that tell you that your beef's okay?
Right.
Yeah. They're going to eat this creature.
Yeah. According to the USDA, quoted by ABC7, at approximately 5:15, the larger male was observed penetrating the smaller male again. When the larger male swam away, the smaller male was seen unresponsive at the bottom of a pool. Well, that's kind of sad. Now you're taking something fun and lighthearted and making it sad. Gizmodo reached out to the USDA for a full statement on the allegations against the Moat Aquarium.
Glad we're using Oh, go ahead.
Richard Bell, a spokesperson for the agency's Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service. Rick Bell, yeah. He told us, we take complaints seriously and we look into the allegations to determine whether there are any animal welfare. One more time. We take all complaints seriously and look into the allegations to determine whether there are any Animal Welfare Act non-compliances that need to be addressed. He was born in captivity and lived at the moat with his brother Buffet for close to 27 years. The Florida variety of manatees normally live for 60 years, and they usually experience about several months of changed behavior, including a good deal more friskiness each year. This period can start in spring and extend to around September. After news of the report picked up steam earlier this week, the Moat Lab released a statement on Wednesday describing Hugh's death. The aquarium revised its earlier release and stated that the manatee had, quote, engaged in natural yet increased mating behavior and documented in manatees both in managed care and in the wild. The report further claims that this was the first time staff witnessed mating behavior between Hugh and his brother, but there was no sign of discomfort or distress. Meaning that, like, basically one manatee said to the other one, hey, if you hook me up, I'll hook you up. Anyway, Moat claimed that the two were mutually seeking each other's attention throughout the day. The lab veterinarians tried to distract the pair instead of separating them in order to avoid undue anxiety from being separated. Despite the strange circumstances surrounding Hugh's death, any loss of a Florida manatee is a travesty.
That doesn't rhyme.
Conservationists have constantly sounded the alarm about the species dying off due to the loss of fish and habitat. This year, several major conservation groups sued the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, saying the agency had failed to protect the manatee populations. Probably very true, especially in Florida.
Yeah.
Wildlife officials have taken to the mass lettuce feedings in order to preserve the mammals after massive seagrass loss throughout the Caribbean. Or is it Caribbean? I don't know.
It depends on if you're talking about a queen or not.
Oh, it's true.
Yeah. And if you're sharing a similar dream.
Oh, that's Billy
Yes.
Ocean, right?
Yeah, Billy Ocean.
On my honeymoon, we were at Disney World, and it was like a Wednesday at 1 p.m., and there's a huge amphitheater with like 3,000 seats and a banner that said, "Free pizza, eat to the beat with Billy Ocean." And he was on stage performing, and there was like 9 people eating free pizza and just like not looking at him.
Wow.
This amphitheater, and it was one of the saddest things I've ever seen in my life. And I couldn't find the picture I was telling you guys about. I will find it. I do have it somewhere. I overlooked it, I guess. But I did send a relevant photo to Mike as well as an important GIF.
Okay.
My friend Darcy, a GIF of Teeny Others. My friend Darcy has a story that is one of the saddest and hilarious stories where his family was sitting around watching the Family Ties, Teeny Others being the youngest daughter on Family Ties.
Uh-huh.
And Teeny Others came on, and Darcy's dad goes, "Oh, that little girl is so ugly. Just the ugliest actress. Just what? How did they even let an actress that ugly on TV? Like, I mean, just look at her. I mean, look at her. I can't, and she's in this attractive family, and they just have this uggo for a daughter. It's completely stupid and unrealistic." And then a couple weeks later go by. I believe Family Ties was a Thursday night show, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. Well, it started off Sunday, and then I think it moved to Thursday.
A part of the original must-see TV lineup. And about a month goes by, and the family's sitting there. They all sit down to watch Family Ties, and then they come in, and Alex comes in and goes like, "I'm a Republican," and Mallory comes in and goes, "I'm dumb," and then and the mom and dad go like, "We're the mom and dad," and then Teeny Others comes in, and Darcy's dad goes, "Oh, look at that girl, you kind of look like her, Darcy." And Darcy,
he forgot what he said?
He forgot what he said, and Darcy lost her shit crying. And you said he was ugly. No.
That's why would any of that happen?
I don't know.
Especially because we all know Harriet from Small Wonder is the ugliest child actor ever.
Well, yeah.
Well, she's and Harriet's up there with fucking, what is it, Bobby? I've never the main kid.
That guy, the guy with the punchable face.
Yeah, there's never been a child that I want to. Jamie, yeah, there's never been a child that I wanted to punch with a closed fist as much as Jamie. Like Harriet, yes, annoying but does a great job somehow. Like she transcends to a level that she might have actually been a really sweet kid, and knew better to not wear her hair in that awful Harriet way when not on set. But I don't believe that Jamie was anything but Jamie off set. Really, really, a real piece of shit, that kid.
Yeah, seriously. Terrible.
Let me see what happened to Jamie. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say I really feel like I failed you guys in not finding this naked picture of this woman at Comic-Con, but I promise you I will find it and get it to you. Do you know about Gary Spivey?
I know that name. I don't know who that is off the top of my head.
He was a televangelist, and somebody I think that you guys, it seemed like somebody you might talk about on the show. My phone has too much on it for me to send any messages right now. Too much gigabyte or whatever. But if you guys look up Gary and Spivey is Spivey, I wouldn't. If I'm ever allowed to return to your show, I would like to pitch that we try to discover a little more about Gary Spivey.
Okay.
Are you looking at a picture of him?
I'll do a deep dive into Gary Spivey.
So just take a look at. Do a very shallow dive, like right now, just to like see it, just to get yourself the taste.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
now that's some hair.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not hair, real. But it's hair.
That guy went on television week after week with that on.
Wow.
Seriously speaking about Jesus.
So I just want to let Mike know that in 2012, it was reported that the guy who played Jamie was destitute, and that a former advisor and a girlfriend stole his trust fund.
No girlfriend. He never had a girlfriend.
He never had, yeah.
That's a lie.
I mean, some people might say, ah, but I say, ha ha.
Let's see. Oh, I tried to go to his website, his official website, but it says this content isn't available right now.
If you have a TV show in syndication for 5 years, why do you need a trust fund?
Yeah, it's hard to understand that.
I mean, because his parents probably took all his money. They did that
to me.
Yeah,
my parents did that. My mom did.
Yeah, that's true. Do you want to tell that story, Zach?
I don't know. I don't have to. I was that kid on the game show that like won everything. Like I was like I swept Kids Week on this game show, and I won. I got every question right except one in 2 episodes, and I like built up thousands of dollars. And my grandfather died and left me all my money for college. And I don't know where it went for my mom, but I never got the check.
Zach seems to be pointing in his nose.
I had an itch. So did she.
Yeah.
So that wraps up another week of the International News Service. Find us across social media at International News Pod. Email us at internationalnewspod@gmail.com. We have some amazing shirts at Redbubble, and we would appreciate it if some of our listeners would writhe and wriggle in public while wearing them. So check out our INS merch store at Redbubble, and we'll see you next week.
See you in hell.
God bless. Hell.
What card are you holding up?
Oh, no card. Or this card.
No.
Thank you for listening to the International News Service. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. INS, the news you need.